Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Peter Dunlop, and I have Alzheimer's disease. Before my diagnosis, I was a hospital consultant. I first had concerns that something was wrong in the autumn of 2008 when I had episodes of forgetfulness, including forgetting my parents' phone number and where the clock was in my car. My wife said I'd always had a lousy memory, and these were normal senior moments. Thank you, dear. However, I was aware that these were different, and I also didn't feel as mentally sharp. After the third episode, I consulted my GP, who took me seriously and referred me to the memory clinic at Wythenshawe Hospital. At this stage, I was working as usual. I'd spoken to my colleagues, who were very supportive, and they didn't feel that it was adversely affecting my work. In February 2009, I had my first basic memory tests at home. Initially, the sister looked at me rather dubiously, but by the end of the session, she looked more worried than anything else. Some weeks later, I had more intensive memory tests at Wythenshawe, which I failed miserably. I was then called in to see Professor Burns, who confirmed that Alzheimer's was a possibility, and he organized a 3-stage brain MRI. When the results were through, Professor Burns passed me on to Professor Neary for a second opinion, and he diagnosed my Alzheimer's as my left hippocampus was 2 millimeters smaller than the right. I was given the diagnosis on a Friday afternoon, and after getting home, I phoned the GMC and the BMA about continuing to practice. And their response was that I could continue to practice if my colleagues were happy. I also phoned the Medical Protection Society, and I was put through to a barrister. After explaining the diagnosis, there was a very long pause before she embarked on the lasting power of attorney. I took the hint and revoked my license to practice medicine on the Monday morning. I was fortunate to have a quick diagnosis, about 8 months. Having a diagnosis was a relief tempered by the unknown, having to sort out sudden retirement and finances with an unknown prognosis. I've been fortunate to have a lot of support from my wife and my colleagues. Other problems have appeared out of the woodwork, particularly the loss of numeracy. I have great difficulty in calculating change when I'm out shopping, and I use a debit card rather than cash, even for minor transactions. I also find it very difficult to work out what the time is, which can be quite useful when I'm fishing. These changes also undermine confidence in everyday life. Simple tasks of going out can take on major planning just to ensure that I don't get lost or forget something, and sat-nav is useful for getting there and getting back. I joined the Stockport Dementia Group, Educate, and no, I can't remember what the acronym stands for. It's very helpful to have the staff, the support of the staff and other early dementia sufferers. The group does go out to local interested bodies to discuss dementia. They are an unruly bunch, so beware of them. Since retiring, I have a much quieter life. I'm still independent. I go fishing regularly and occasionally catch a trout. I'm still driving, and this included a spell of driving in Uganda with a 12-year-old car, bald tyres, large potholes, vehicles and cattle coming from all directions. Certainly an interesting experience, especially with 5 large adults and 6 small children on board. At home, if I venture out by train, I have to plan my route carefully with written instructions for each stage and the backup of an A to Z. I refer to the instructions regularly and unnecessarily, just in case. Overall, having dementia is a pain in the, okay, you can put over what you want there, the ruder the better. Life has to be ordered to try and remember what happens when, where everything is, and who's going where at what time. And most importantly, where my latest grubby piece of paper with the latest list is. Thank you very much for listening.